Are you confused about Git? Want to go from zero to hero? Get ready to embark a journey that will revolutionize the way you handle version control in the world of software development. Say hello to our brand new, absolutely free YouTube course, Git from Scratch Zero to Hero. In less than 2 hours, we will take you from being a complete Git newbie to a confident, knowledgeable user. Whether you are a seasoned pro looking for a quick refresher or a newcomer in the world of version control, this course is just tailored for you. Here's a sneak peek what you will learn. First, key concepts. Lay the foundation with a deep understanding of fundamental Git concept. No more feeling lost in the world of Git jargons. Second, Git workflow. Discover the seamless and powerful Git workflow that professionals use every day to manage their projects. Number 3, installation. Get hands-on guidance to install Git on your system with ease, making it ready for the action. Number 4, Git help. Master the art of seeking help when you need it. Learn how to navigate Git's extensive documentation and community support. Number 5, Git config. Customize your Git experience to suit your preference and work with efficiency. Number 6, initializing a repo. Take your first step into the world of version control by creating your very own repository. Number 7, first commit. Learn how to commit your changes, a pivotal moment in the world of Git. Number 8, working locally. Explore the nuances of working with Git on your local machine and feel in control of the code. Number 9, Git history. Dive into your project history and understand every change made to your code, ensuring transparency and accountability. Number 10, moving and ignoring. Learn how to manage and organize your files effectively, including ignoring those pesky build files. There are several other topics that we're going to talk about. One of those is SSH. Discover the world of secure connections with SSH, ensuring the safety of your repositories. The other one would be branches. Understand the power of branches and how they revolutionize collaborative coding. And to top it all, we'll finish it with a bang. A series of interview questions to help you ace your job interviews and showcase your newfound Git expertise. Now, Git isn't just for the developers or DevOps or anyone. It's crucial for testers as well, or anyone who is in the software world. By the end of this course, you will be equipped with the knowledge and confidence to harness the full potential of Git in your projects, boost your productivity, and stand out in your career. Now, join us for this informative and transformative learning experience. Subscribe to our channel, hit the notification bell, and be the first to access our Git from Scratch Zero to Hero course. Get ready to master the art of version control and watch your software development journey soar to new heights. So without further ado, let's get started. So let's start with the goals first. So the first would be the basic concept. So at the end of this course, you will be master of basic Git concept, and you would be able to manage your projects with Git using the fundamental workflow, including how to start with a new project or working with Git locally, and how to collaborate with others using a hosted Git provider like GitHub. So these are the things that we are going to talk in the goals. Let's talk about the overview. In the overview, we are going to talk about the key concept that you need to know about Git, and then how to set up and configure this Git, how to initialize a project from scratch, how to work in local, and how to work in remote as well. And then after that, we'll take some common interview questions which people ask in the interviews. And then we'll talk about some miscellaneous topics as well for this course. Let's talk about the prerequisites now. So you need to have a laptop or a PC. And this is one of the most important ones, is admin rights over the machine, because you need to install a lot of stuff over here. And then you have to have a good internet connection because you need to download a few things, and zeal to learn. This is important because you need to learn a lot in this course, and we are going to do a lot in the console part. So you should have this. So thanks guys, and if you have any questions, feel free to comment. We have not discussed much over here, and at the end of this course, you'll be a master of all these concepts which we are going to discuss. So first of all, we are going to talk about the repositories. So the repositories in Git contain a collection of files of various different versions of a project. These files are imported from repository into the local server
of the user for further updations and modifications in the content of the file. A VCS or the version control system is used to create these versions and store them in a specific place termed as a repository. So these can be divided into two parts. First would be bare repositories. So these repositories are used to share the changes that are done by different developers. A user is not allowed to modify this repository or create a new version for this repository based on the modifications done. The second would be non-bare repositories. So non-bare repositories are user-friendly and hence allow the user to create new modifications of files and also create new versions for the repositories. Cloning process by default creates a non-bare repository if any parameter is not specified during the clone operation. So third would be commit. So commit is anything that is saved into the repository, or you can say save changes to the repository. It's a unique code or an identifier in SHA1 or SHA1. Let's move on to the next slide. Now we are going to talk about the branches. So branches can be thought of as a timeline with commits. By default, the master branch is our main, primary or a default branch that we start with our work. In this course, we will be doing mostly all of our work on our main branch, but we will talk about other branches as well. Next is head. So head is a pointer to the last commit on the current branch. Next is remote. Remote is a pointer to a related repository, somewhere that's not local, so possibly within our own network. For example, you have Bitbucket, Azure Repos, AWS Code Commit, GitLab, GitHub, etc. We'll talk about the GitHub in the further course. Let's move on to the next slide. Now we are going to talk about the working area. So working area or staging area of a Git repository. So you can say that a working tree in a Git repository is the collection of files which are originated from a certain version of the repository. It helps in tracking the changes done by a specific user on one version of the repository. So whenever an operation is committed by the user, Git will look only for the files which are present in the working area and not at all in the modified files. Only the files which are present in the working area are considered for commit operation. The user of the working tree gets to change the files by modifying existing files and removing or creating files. There are a few stages of a file in the working tree of the repository. Let's take a look at them. First would be untracked. So in this stage, the Git repository is unable to track the file, which means that the file is never staged nor it is committed. The next one will be tracked. When the Git repository tracks a file, which means the file is committed but it is not staged in the working directory. Next is staged. In this stage, the file is ready to be committed and is placed in the staging area waiting for the next commit. Next one would be modified or dirty. When the changes are made to a file, that is, the file is modified but the change is not yet staged. So that's what we call as modified or a dirty one. So after the changes are done in the working area, the user can either update these changes in the Git repository or revert the changes. So I hope you guys have understood it till here. These are one of the key concepts that you need to remember throughout the course. We'll talk more on this when we do the practical part. So if you guys have any questions, please feel free and comment them. We'll try to address all of them. So today we are going to understand the workflow in Git. So as you can see on my screen, there is workflow for local and there is another workflow which is the second one for remote. We'll understand both of them one by one. So let's get started. So if you can see on my screen, I have created two areas over here, local and remote over here. I'll tell you the workflow, that how the code flows from one place to the another, from local to remote, from remote to local. So the first step that you have to do is you have to initialize, but where? So you have to understand these three things. First would be working area or a working directory. Second would be your staging area. Third would be your Git repo. This is everything is in local. You can see this line over here, which is a bifurcation between local and remote. And then your GitHub will be the hosted one, which is remote. So the first step would be you have to initialize a working directory in local, or you can initialize on the GitHub. These are the same thing. You have to do here as well or here as well. On the second step, once you have initialized, you will create a file over here in the second step. You can edit an existing file as well. So once you create that, there would be a change. There would be a delta. Once done, you have to stage those changes in the third step in the staging area. You will use add command. We'll talk about commands more once we do the practical. It will be much more clearer to you. Now once you have done the changes, you have staged the changes, then you have to commit using commit command. Now once you commit it, you can give a message also, which we'll see in the demo. And then once after your commit is done, you have to push the changes to the remote branch. So again, I'll be repeating it. Initialize it, create a file or edit a file, stage the changes, and then commit it, giving a message which is relevant to the commit that you have done or the change that you have done. And then finally you have to push it. Once you push it, everything that you have changed over here will be moved to the GitHub or remote repository. Now once it will come over here, you can see that if there are many developers who are working on this, they must be having their own changes over here. Now in case you want to have these changes which are on the remote into the local area or local working directory, you have to pull. So this is the last step, which is the sixth step. Let's say an example. You have created a file 1.txt, you have staged it, committed it and pushed it. Your remote repository will be having 1.txt, but there would be a developer who has written 2.txt, and then you want that file to be in your working area or working directory. So all you have to do, you have to type pull command, and then all the code that has been written by any other developer, just like 2.txt, will come in your working area. So that is a basic workflow in the local part. Let's move on to the remote. Most of the steps are same. It's just that you don't have to initialize any kind of repository in the local. It will start from here on the remote. So now the flow will be like this. So the first step is you have to set up a repository on GitHub. Once done, you just have to clone it. So the command would be git clone in the repository URL. Now this command will be more clear when we do the demo part. So once you have cloned it, it will come into your working area or the directory. Once it will come here, then the steps has to be the same and you have to just repeat them. You have to create a file, edit or modify that. Once done, you have to move to the fourth step, which is stage our changes using an add command. Same, after that you have to commit them using commit command and add a message which is relevant to the change. And after that, sixth step would be the push command. So once you push it, the code will come over here. So if you have created a file such as 2.txt, you have to just commit it and then 2.txt will come on the remote GitHub. So this is your remote repository. And similarly, which I talked about in the previous slide, that if any other developer has some changes done over here, you just have to pull it and those changes will be in your working area or your working directory. So this is the basic workflow. I'll just repeat it. You have to create it on the setup on GitHub, which is the repository, clone it in your local, then you have to create or modify a file, stage the changes, commit the changes, and then just push. If there is any change on the remote repository, just pull it into your working area or working directory. So this is very easy, guys, to understand. In case you have any questions, feel free to comment below and we'll address all of them. So in today's video, we are going to learn about what is Git and how do we install it. So let's get started. So as the first point says, what is Git? So Git is a free and open source distributed version control system designed to handle everything from small to very large projects with speed and efficiency. Git is easy to learn and has a tiny footprint with lightning fast performance. It outclasses SCM tools like Subversion, CVS, perforce, and clear case, etc., with features like cheap local branching, convenient staging areas, and multiple workflows. So these are the lines taken from the official website of Git, and these lines suggest that it's a free and an open source distributed version control system. When we say version control systems, we mean that you can put all your files over there, your code, your text files or anything on GitHub or on Git, and it handles everything from small to very large projects with speed and efficiency. And it is saying that it outclasses other SCM tools like SVN, which we call Subversion, CVS and Perforce, etc. So these are the basic features about Git, and this is how Git works in your system. So we'll install this in our system, and let's get right into the demo. So first of all, go to your favorite browser and type git download, and you can type git download for Windows as well. Select it and hit enter. The first link will redirect you to the proper Git website. Open that. Once you've done it, you can just take a look. It has opened. Let me expand it. Okay, so this is 2.3.33.0 and it is released on 16th of August. There are multiple options like Mac, Windows and Linux. We only need it for Windows, so we will download for Windows only. Click on it and it will start the downloading. You can see that there are 32-bit and 64-bit Git for Windows setup is available. It automatically recognizes that we have 64-bit, then you can just save the file. Depending on your internet speed, it will get downloaded. Once done, click on it. Once you click over it, it will give a pop-up like this, which is a general public license. Click on next. It will take the default as C program files Git. You can change by clicking on browse button. I do not want to change it, so I'll keep it that way. Click on next. And now it says it already exists because I had already installed it, but it won't show it for you. Now here you can select for additional icons on the desktop, that if you want it on the desktop, you can select. Other you can left as default. Click next. Once done, it shows the browse and just click on next. Here you have, it is telling that use Vim, just click on next, default option. Here let Git decide and override the default branch name for the new repositories. Two options are available. Let's see. Let Git use its default branch name currently as master for the initial branch, and the other one is override the default branch name for new repositories. So many teams already rename their default branches. Common choices are main, trunk and development. You have to specify that name. I don't do that, so I'll just select the basic option. Here we have three options like use Git from Git bash only. This is the most cautious choice, as your path will not be modified at all. You will only be able to use the Git command line through Git bash. Second is the default one. This is recommended and selected by default. It will install only the Git wrappers to your path and avoid cluttering your environment with optional tools. Select that and move forward. In this, we have three options. Use bundle OpenSSH. Just click on next. In this, just select the default one. Click on next. Check out Windows style, command Unix line endings. Git will convert LRF to LF to CLRF. So CRLF, I'm sorry, when checking out text file, just select that and move forward. In that, use Minty. You can just move forward. Default, just move forward. Click on next. Again, Git credential manager code, click on next. Enable file system caching, click on next, and you can click on install. Once done, it will take some time, like 2 to 3 minutes, and then it will install in your system. In the meantime, let it install. We just browse through the website. Let's go to the documentation and click over it. You can see that there is a reference manual over here and other things. Let's go to that, and you have setup and config, guides over here. You have getting and creating projects, basic snapshotting, branching and merging, external system, email, and a lot of other things. You can just scroll down and take a look like how things are done. Git is not a small thing. Let's just open Git and just tick. So there are multiple options available over here like synopsis. We'll use the Git version once we have installed to check whether everything is perfect or not. Let's go to the main website. You can see the thing that I explained. It's written over here in front of you. There are multiple things like about, documentation, downloads. Let's open the about part, and you can see there are multiple things like branching and merging, small and fast, distributed. Everything related to Git is explained over here. You can just go through it and understand. We are not going through everything. I'm just showing it to you so that you guys can go through it. Let's just go back to our setup, and it has been installed. Perfect. Click on launch Git bash and finish it. Once done, it will open a pop-up. You need not to use that. You can use the command prompt as well. So I'll just open the command prompt through my start button. Once done, let me type git dash dash or hyphen, you can say, version, and hit enter. Oh, I have made a mistake, I'm sorry. Just make it git and hit enter. You can see that git version 2.33.0.windows 2 is available in your system, and this is the same version that we downloaded. So this is the first thing that you need to do into your system, and once you have installed it, we'll do every kind of development through this only. So this is the basic thing you should understand before moving forward. If this has not installed in your system, then you should not move forward. Make sure that you have done everything till here. So I hope you have understood everything. If not, feel free to comment and we'll address it. In this video, we'll see about Git help. So as the name suggests, Git help means it displays help information about Git. And in the synopsis, you can see that Git help you have to use, like you have to type the command in the command prompt or the shell, and you have to just type git help and hyphen a or dash a for dash dash all. So it will display all the available commands are printed on the standard output, like on your console. So if the option is like hyphen hyphen guides or hyphen g is given, then a list of git concepts guide is also printed on the standard output. So if a command or a guide is given, a manual page for that command or guide is brought. So that's how it works. So more we'll learn into the demo which I'll show you. So let's get right into the video. So for starters, you can just click on your start button and then just type git bash. Either you can just click over it or right click over it, run as administrator. I'll just prefer running as an administrator. Once done, it will open on your system. You can just expand it from here or you can keep it that way. So let's see, where are we? You can say ls, it will show you the objects, where are you right now, or you can say pwd, which is the present work directory, where are you right now. And if you have to clean, you can just do clear, which is clear, and everything will be clear. This is just a basic command, but it has nothing to do with git. So for the first time, what we'll do is we'll type just git and just type help. Let's see what happens. So you can see there are a lot of commands that are placed over here, and it will show you the synopsis which I just showed you on the slide, and it can say that these are common git commands used in various situations. So if you want to clone, then you have to type git clone. If you want to initialize or create an empty repository or reinitialize an existing one, then you have to type git init. So you have to use git, and after that you have to follow clone or init or something. On the other hand, if you work on current change, you can do an add. Similarly, you can have git mv, which is moving a file or renaming a file, a directory, or a symlink. After that, you can have git restore. It restores the working tree files. This is self-explanatory and you can just go through it. Rm is for removing the files, which is when you create the file when you want to remove the file from the working tree from the index, you have to use git rm command. There is a sparse checkout, and there are multiple things like examine the history and git history and state. So you can see the git help revisions as well. You can use git bisect. It will use the binary search to find the commit that introduced a bug. So bug is kind of a somewhat related to error. And then you have git diff. It will show the changes between the commits. We'll see all of them. If it is confusing for you right now, don't be worried about it. We'll do everything in this course, and we'll take every command into consideration and show you what's the result. And then we have grep or grep. It prints the line matching a pattern. If you want to search something, you can use this grep and then you can search it, and it is kind of similar to the command that is used in your Linux system as well. And you have git log. It shows the commit logs. Let's say there are a number of developers, they are doing some kind of commit in the repository. It will show you the log, like what exactly has been happening since few days or since few weeks. That's what it shows you. And then git show, it shows the various types of object that you'll create, and git status is show the working tree status. And then again you have git you have grow, mark, and tweak. Sorry, if you want to grow, you can or mark or tweak your common history, you can use git branch. Git branch will list and create or delete the branches. So if you type git branch -l, it will show you the local branches. If you type git branch minus, I'm saying you can say hyphen git branch hyphen r, it will show you the remote branches. And then this is one of the best commands that we, or we can say that common commands that we use to commit any code. It will just record the changes of the repository, and then you have, if you want to join two or more development histories together, you have to use git merge. Then if you have to reapply commits on the top of another base tip, then you use rebase. It's a very common question in the interviews, that what is the difference between git merge and git rebase. We'll talk about the interview questions in one of the videos that we'll create at the end of this course. And then we have git reset, git switch, and git tags. Tags is like very much used because it creates, list or delete or verify a tag object signed with GPG. Whenever you do a release in a lot of companies, they use this tag. And then collaborate, for collaboration means a lot of developers are working on other repositories or the same repositories, and you want to fetch the changes. You can use fetch, pull, and push. So fetch is something like download objects from the refs from another repository, and pull is fetch from the integrate, fetch from and integrate with another repository or a local branch. So there is an also a very common interview question: what is the difference between a fetch and a pull? How does pull differs from fetch? Something like that. And we will cover this in a separate video, but now you just need to know what are the commands over here. And this is the end command, git push, in which you create everything. I also explained in my last video in the git workflow that you have to push your changes once a while, and then you can read it over here, update remote refs along with associated objects. So that is how these are the like basic commands. If you want more, just you can type this. Let me type this and show you. So I'll just type git help dash or hyphen a. Let's see what happens. See, for the first time it might take some time because it is quite huge, so you can just wait for a while and then it will appear for you. Now you can see that it has appeared, and then there are main proclaim commands, add, am, archive, bisect, and everything. And if you want to go out of it, just type q and hit enter. You don't even need to hit enter and it will come out of it. So that's how it works, guys. And if you want to see the guide part, so you can type git help hyphen g, and you can see that it will show you the guides are attributes, CLI, core tutorial, and a lot of other things. So we'll cover almost everything in our git course, and we are going to do everything on the console part so that we can understand how things go from here. So I hope you have understood everything, guys, and if there is any issue, feel free to comment below and we'll address it. We have noticed that we have installed a new Git in a fresh system. So in order to configure things, what we have to do, so that's what we are going to talk about today. So you can see that we are going to talk about the Git username or Git name and the email address that we'll associate in order to do the check-ins. So for that, we are going to use git config hyphen hyphen global command, and we'll do the demo. So guys, let's get started. So first of all, go to your start button, type cmd, right click, and run as administrator. So there are two ways to do it. First is this, and the other way is you can type git bash over here, right click, and run as administrator. Once done, it will open, and you can do the same thing on both of them, and I'll show you one by one what exactly is needed. Okay, so for now what we'll do is we'll do a minor change over here, and the other change we'll do in the different window. So first of all, you need to know where are you right now exactly. So you are in C users and the username. Now here what you have to do is you have to type a command git config hyphen hyphen global, and then, so this has opened now. It was a bit late. Let me push it back. We'll just complete a few things over here and then we'll take a look at that as well. So global, and then we have to type user dot name and your username. So my username is LogicOps lab. If you want to give that, you can give that. Let me expand it a bit. You can do that. Otherwise, you can type your name as well. For example, your name is like my name is Ravish. You can type that, and it is your choice. You can type anything. So I'll just give a name Logic Ops Lab, and that's all. That's all you have to give, and hit enter. So once you do it, and if it is showing there is nothing else over here, which means no response is a good response. It means it is showing no error over here. So this is great. Now same thing you guys can do in your shell as well. Let me show you over here. So one thing we have done there already, you can type it over here, git config -- global, the same command, and user dot email. So what is your email which you are using? logicopslab@gmail.com. You can use yours, and that's all. Hit enter. Again, there is no response, which is a good response over here. And now if I want to see that I've set two things over here, which is one is my user email and other is my username. I've set two things. Okay, I'm just telling you that you guys can use anything. You can use the command prompt, you can use the git bash. Ideal way is to use git bash, but you can do through command prompt as well. I'll just close this for now and I'll start using this only. So once this is done, you have to check whether everything is perfect or not. So type git config -- global, and then you have to take a list of all these things. So hit enter and let's see what it shows. And it has come username and your user email, which is logicopslab@gmail.com and then logicopslab. Perfect. Now all this information is saved somewhere and that file name is gitconfig. Now let us take a look at that file. So you have to type cat tilde slash dot git, not git config, and hit enter, and it will give you the same credentials that you have just set a few minutes back over here. If it is appearing over here in this way, perfect, you are doing it all right. Now once this is done, you can see where this file is saved. So let us type pwd over here, which is present work directory. So you have to go inside C users and Ravi Shrawat. I've already opened it over here, and you can see there's a folder over here which is known as, let me just type it, dot git folder over here. But you don't have to take a look at that because all you need is this git config file. So right click over here, edit in notepad++, and you can see that we have the same credentials over here. So which means that what we have set has come over here, and if you see this over here in this same format, then everything you have done is perfect. So in case you have any other issue or if you have not understood, please feel free to comment below and we'll address the issue. We are going to talk about on the ways how to initialize a repository. So there are two ways to do that. Let's talk about them. So first is creating a new project. When you don't have any project but you have to create from everything from scratch, or you have to start from fresh, so you have to use this syntax, which is git init and your project name. The other way around is working on an existing project. So let's say there is already a project that is present but there is no SCM maintained for that. So for that you can just use git init, and this project can have any number of files. This project can have any type of files like your CSS file, HTML file, Java files, or C# files, or any sort of files. So these are the two ways which we are going to talk about today, and we'll take a demo on it on how to do that. Before moving forward in the video, if you have not subscribed my channel till yet, kindly do so. So let's dive right into the demo part. So first of all, click on your start button and then type git bash. You can open it as an administrator. Once done, let me just drag it. So in here, when it opens, you have to create a folder, you have to do a lot of things. Let's type pwd, which is the present work directory, and it'll show you where you are right now. So once that appears over here, you have to create a directory, and you can give it any name. I'll just give it a name of MD LogicOps Lab. So I'll just type LogicOps Lab over here. Once done, we'll hit enter over here. It says bash md command not found. Okay, so I have typed the command wrong over here. So md is not the command. Make directory. So mkdir is the command. Hit enter, and once you see this, it means that it has created a logicops directory over here. And let's go inside it. cd, not mkdir, logic ops. For the first four digits, just hit tab and it will go inside. Just hit enter, and then if you'll type pwd over here or something, then it will show you what is exactly the path. So we're going to take a look at that. So let's do that, pwd, and you can see that we are in the LogicOps lab right now. So let me clear this first. So once done, it is cleared, just type git init and the project name. So we are going to create a fresh project over here. So I'll just type fresh project and then I'll just hit enter. Once done, you can see that it has initialized empty git repository in C and it will give you the whole path over here. So you can see that git folder has been created. Let's see what happens. Just type ls and it will show you the fresh project. Go inside the project. Once done, it will show you that you are inside the project. Once you do ls over here, it will show you nothing, but you have to do ls-a for everything. So once done, you can see that a git directory is present over here, which is just created by whatever command we gave just a few minutes back, which is init command. So once this git appears over here, it means that everything is perfect and you are good to go further. So now what we'll do over here is, let me check. So we'll just type ls over here. Once done, let me do it again, ls minus git, and we'll just go one step back. We are now in the LogicOps lab directory and we can see the fresh project. Let me clear it. Now what we'll do is we'll type pwd, the present work directory, and we are in the C users, my name and LogicOps lab folder. Okay, this is perfect. So now what we have to do is we'll just check that there is a directory over here. I'll just go inside my C drive. I'll just go inside my users and then I'll look for my username, which is ravish.rawat, and after that I'll look for a directory that I created, which is LogicOps lab. And you can see, let me just make it a large icon so that you guys can see it clearly. Once done, go inside the project. Let me make it large as well. Once done, go inside the fresh project and you can see that the git folder is created over here. And how did it get created? We created it through the command line. So it means that it is done. Now we'll create a new project, which is the other way of initializing a repo. We'll just give it a name, existing project. I'm creating it right now because I do not have the code over here. In case you have a code and this is not yet initialized, you can just create that project. So now what we'll do, we'll try to create a lot of stuff over here. Let's see. Right click, click on a new text document, and we'll just change the name and the extension as well. We'll give a name first.java. Just approve it, whatever the pop-up is, and it has created a Java file. It is an empty file, it does not contain anything. We'll just make copies of it and change the name accordingly. So for the first one, which was first, I'll give here a name which is second.java. And similarly, what I'll do is I'll give a third.java name and a fourth.java name to all these files. We are going to create these files because we do not have a empty project right now or an existing project right now. But if you have and it does not have anything, then you can uh, just initialize it. I have created a new folder. Let's say we have a web folder in our project as well, and I'm going to create an HTML file over here with a CSS file. Similarly, you can create main.html. It will just ask you with a pop-up that you want to change the extension, and you can do that. Let me create a large icon. Now click on new and click a new text document. Just change the extension and create a CSS file, which is main.css. That's all you have to do. So now our existing project has 3-4 files and there are 3-4 types over here: Java, CSS and HTML. Now we'll go to existing project and we can see that existing project is here, but it has not yet been initialized. So what we'll do is, let's go back to the console. Now what we'll do here is we do an ls. We can see that existing project is now visible over here, which is perfect. Now go inside it, cd existing project, go inside and do the exactly same thing. When we do ls, you can see that all the files that we are seeing, the web project, the web folder is perfectly residing over there. So which means that we can see everything on the console perfectly. Now what we'll do exactly the same thing. Git init, and we do not have to give the project name because project is already there. Now it has initialized empty git repository in the existing project. Now do an ls. Again, you know that we have to do ls-a to see, and you can see that there is a git folder which is existing because of what we did just few minutes back. So ls-a, let me show you again. Let me hit enter over here and you can see the git folder is there, which just got created. Let us go inside and you can see over here in the folder Git directory is created and all the files have come. So this is how Git has just initialized the project. Let me close this one. This is not needed. Let's go back to the console over here, and you can see this is existing over here, and you can see the master branch, which is the by default branch that you get when you create a new repository or you initialize a new repository in any sort of directory or in any sort of hosted Git as well. So I hope you guys have understood what we have taught you today. We have discussed two things: initializing an existing project or initializing a new project after creating one from scratch. As you can see on my screen, we are going to talk about how to work in Git locally. So there are 4 points that we are going to talk about today. First is what is Git commit and how to execute it. Second, what is Git status. Third is what is Git add, and fourth is can we commit and add at the same time. So these are the 4 points that we are going to talk about, and we'll do the demo. So let's dive right into the video. So before moving forward, I want to introduce this Notepad++. This is a very good software in order to edit or write some files. I usually like this. It's not a hard and fast rule that you have to use Notepad++. You can use anything else. You can use the Windows default Notepad, but I like this one. So all you have to do is just Google Notepad++ and just click on the first link that comes. At the recording time, it's 8.14 is the latest release. Just go inside and look for your bit version in your system OS. So there is a 32-bit version over here and there is a 64-bit version over here. I already have installed it, but I'll show you how to install it. So I'll download the 64-bit because that's my OS, and I'll just click on the installer and it'll ask me to download. I'll just save the file and it will get downloaded over here. I'll just click over it. I already downloaded it, so I'll just click over it and it will show me a pop-up like this. I'll choose the language, I'll click on OK, and it will show me the pop-up like this. All you have to do is just click on next, click on I agree, and it will take the default C program files. You can change it accordingly, but I'll just choose the default one. Click on next. Nothing has to be changed, just click on next. Either you can create a shortcut on the desktop or not, like it's totally your choice. Click on install and it will install. Once done, it will just ask for, you can just unselect it, or you can click over it and finish. Once done, it will open and show you the latest features that it has been having in this release. So this is what having. So yeah, this is the tool that you guys can use, and I'll do my whatever script I'll write in this only. So let's dive right into the video and we'll talk about Git, how it works. So once done, open your Git bash, just type Git bash over here and hit enter. Once you hit it, it will open. Let me drag it and this has opened. So let us see where are we right now. Like let me type EWD and I'm in the C users ravish.rawat. So what I'll do over here is I'll just go inside LogicOps lab, which I created long back, and do an ls over here. So I have an existing project in a fresh project. If you remember, I created something in the existing project. So let us go inside the existing project. So I'll just do the tab and do an ls over here. You can see there are a lot of files. But what happens if you don't have any file? Let us create one file. So let's go back and let's go into the fresh project. We'll talk about the other one later. Okay, so let me show you what do we have here. We have only the directory over here. So let me just clear everything. Now what we'll do, we'll just plan things over here and we'll talk about the basic file that we always have. We do not have any file over here, so let us create a file over here. I'll open Notepad++ for me. So let me drag it over here. And I'll create a readme file over here. So you can give any command over here, it doesn't matter. This is readme.md file. It hardly matters what it is, and you can just save it. It'll ask you where do I save it. So you have to go inside your disks and you have to go inside the users, and then you have to go inside the folder that you create. What we created, my username is Ravish Rawat. I'll go here, I'll go in the LogicOps lab, and I'll create a file over in fresh project because there is nothing. So I'll just name it read, let me give it capital readme.md. That's all you have to do, and just save it. Now I already have a file over here. Now what I'll do is I'll just click over here and do an ls over here, and I'll see what I have over here is now I have a file. So now what this file will do is we have to commit it. There is nothing much over here, and we'll just commit this file. So let me push it over here, and now we'll talk about this. So if you want to see the content of it, let me try if this works for you. Readme.md, and let's see if it shows anything. Yes, it has showed this is a readme file, which is what we wrote it over here. Now what we'll see is that we already have a master branch over here. So your branch is master. Whenever you create a new repository, it is always master. You can change it theoretically, but you should not do it. It's not a good practice to do. So do not do that. So now what we have to do, we'll just check the git status. So if I check the git status right now, it is saying that we are on branch master, which is perfect, but there is no commits yet. We have not committed anything. This is a fresh file. The file is untracked. So what we have to do, we have to, in order to track it, we have to put it on stage and we have to then commit. But right now there is nothing to be committed because but untracked files present. So there is nothing to be committed, and then there is an untracked file present, which is the readme.md file. Now it is saying in order to add it, you have to use git add command. So let's do that. So what I'll do is I'll just do git add and name of the file. So what is my name of the file? So readme.md. This is my file. You can just hit a tab. Let me show you. You can hit a tab. That's all. So if I do that, let's see what happens. So as I told you earlier that no show is a good thing. So it has shown nothing, which is perfect. So now what we'll do is, let's see what git status say right now. So if I press git status, they said no commits yet. You are on branch master, but changes to be committed. So now it was red before, it's green now, which means that it is on the staging area. If you remember in my last video, I've talked about the staging area. So it is in the staging area. You can unstage it, but we are not talking about that right now. So this is where we are right now, in the staging area. Now in order to commit it, this is the command. Let me make some space over here. Let me clear this. Okay, I've pressed it wrong. So yeah. So what I'll do is I'll do git commit -m, and let me type first commit. You can type initial commit as well, which is fine. Hit enter. So what it is saying, master root commit. This is the code. First commit is my message, and this minus or -m is the indication that you have to put a message over here, which is first commit. One file change, one insertion plus. It means there has been one insertion and there was one file that has been changed. So this is done. So that's how you commit your file. Now what you will do is you'll type git status. Let's see what happens. And working tree is clean because you have nothing to commit and there is nothing in the staging area, and there is a file over here. So this is how you do things. Now what we'll do is what we'll add something else in this environment. So let's say this is a second line. If you cannot see it, I'll just zoom it. This is the second line and I'll just save it. Once I save it, see, let's see what happens. Let me drag it. What happens? So last time what we did is we did a git command in which we added it and then we committed. Now can I do something like adding and committing at the same time? So you can take a shortcut step by adding and committing at one step. What you have to do is git commit. Let's try git status first. And you can see there is a file that has been modified and it is in red. So again that it's saying that there is a file, but it is not staged. It's not in the staging area. So in order to do that, what you have to do is git commit. I'm typing commit over here because I'm clubbing two commands with each other. So -a for add and m for my message. And then I can type adding together. Let's see if this works. And this, so you can see that master this is my code, this is adding together, which is my message. One file change, 3 insertions, 1 deletion, and let's see, do an ls over here. You can see in a readme file. Let me clear this. Now if I'll type git status over here, you can see on branch master nothing to commit and working tree is perfectly clean. So that's how it works, guys. So I hope you have understood everything. This is what we are working in locally. We have not talked about anything about remote. We'll talk in our future videos, and this is how we do it. So thanks, guys. If you have anything that you have not understood, feel free to comment below and we'll address that.
So, as you can see on my screen, in today's video, we are going to talk about these three things. First is add multiple files, second is how to unstage a file, and third is how to discard a file. So basically three things: adding multiple files through one command. As you know that we have been adding files through the file name, but now we'll do through one command and add the multiple files. And then how to unstage a file which has been staged, and then how to discard changes that you have done in your working area. So before moving forward, I would like to request that if you have not subscribed my channel, please do so. So without further ado, let's get right into the video.
So first of all, go over here in your start button and then just look for git bash. Right click and run as an administrator. Once done, just go over here and do a, let me see where we are, pwd. Okay, let us go inside the folder that we created. Perfect. And then if I do ls over here, let's go inside the fresh project that we created, enter, and do an ls over here. So we have a readme file over here, 1.java, 2.java, 3.java. We have 3 java files over here. So what we can do is we can just go to the fresh project and create 3 more files. So now we'll create a 4th one, 5th one, and a 6th one. Okay, so what we'll do is we'll just create 4th.java. Yes. Okay, I think I changed something over here, so let me give an extension back. Perfect. And then I'll just make a change over here. This should be 5th.java. Perfect. And then this one should be 6th.java. So I'll just rename it. You can press an F2 also. And then 6th.java. Perfect. Now what we'll see over here, let me type git status. And you can see there are 3 files that are untracked, which means we are not added it to the staging area. Let me clear this. Now what we'll do, instead of adding it one by one, we'll add all of them just by one command, which is git add dot or git add period. Enter. No response is a good response, so we do an ls over here. All the files are here. Let's do git status, and you can see there are 3 new files, which is green, which means that they are staged. You can unstage them, but let's not talk about that. So now once you're done, do this, git will recursively add any new or modified file to the git index or the staging area. So when we did git status, it shows us that. So what we can do, we can just commit it like git, not status, git commit, will give -m, adding 3 new files. Enter. And you can see that it has displayed a message of 3 files changed over here, 0 insertions, 0 deletions, and then 3 files. And do an ls. Let me clear this. Now do a git status, and you can see that there is working tree is clean and there is nothing to commit. So we have 6 java files over here. Now again what we'll do, we'll just add one more file, copy this and give a name like 7th.java. So let's see what happens. 7th.java. Okay, so here's my file. I think I've added one apostrophe extra, which I can remove right now. Perfect. Now once done, what you can do is you can type git status. You can see one tracked file which is red, and if you add it, git add 7.java, and then you type git status over here, it is green, which means that it has been added in the staging area. Now if you want to unstage it, what will you do? Let me clear this. Now we'll do git status again to show you the changes, and then I'll type git reset head and the file name, and what's my file name is 7th.java. Enter. And now if you do the git status, you can see that the file which was green, which was staged, is now unstaged. So my 7th.java is now unstaged. So this is how you do it, and you can reset the head of the file name. This is how you unstage. So let's go back, just git add dot, then it has been unstaged, sorry, staged. So if I do a git status over here, so it's green, perfect. Then I can just git commit, just give a number, new file, and just hit enter, and I think my file is added. So if I do a git status again over here, it will say that my working tree is clean, perfect. Just clear it. Now what we'll do is we'll do something very much interesting over here. So if you can see, there is a file known as readme.md. Let's open it. What does it show to you? There are two lines written over here. Okay. Now, if I go over here and do a cat is a command to show what we need in the file. So I give the file name. You can see this is a readme file and this is the second line. Okay, perfect. This is expected. Now, if you want to make changes over here, let me copy this line. Just copy it, paste it over here, and instead of second, just give a name third. Now you have made changes, you have saved it. It is blue, which means it is saved. Let's go over here. Let me pull it over here in my other screen. Now if I do a git status over here, what happens? It says that the readme.md file is unstaged and it is modified. Now what you can do is you can remove those changes from the working directory. But before that, let me show you once again what are the lines that we are having. This is the new line that we added. Now you want to delete it before even without touching the readme.md file. So how will you do it? Let's understand that. The command that you'll use, let me just clear it, and I'll just cat it again so that you can see what is happening in front of you. Perfect. You have to type git checkout hyphen the file name. And what was my file name? readme.md. Hit enter, and you can see there is no response, which means no response is a good response. So now when you did a git checkout, the changes that you did in your working directory with respect to readme.md file is now reverted. Now if you will click on your readme.md file, look what it shows. So you can see as soon as I clicked on readme.md file, it showed me that this file has been modified by other program, which is this one. So now if you cat over here the readme.md file, what happens? It will delete the third line and it will show you the two lines. So it has removed the changes that we did manually. Let's just reload it, and you can see the line is gone. So this is how it's done, guys. So I hope you have understood this, guys, and if there is any issue that you have not understood or something that I need to explain again, feel free to comment below. As you can see on my screen, we'll be talking about these two things. So first would be how to check the git commit history, which means that whatever commit you have done till now from the start, you will see them, and how to see them and what is the command that is being used. We'll check that. Second is how to remove files. So files can be removed we have two methods for that. One is using it and second is without using it, and how to use both of them and what are the challenges that we face in using, like if we use the first one or we use the second one. So this is what we are going to learn today. So before moving forward, if you have not subscribed my channel, kindly do so. So without further ado, let's dive into the video. So first of all, just click on the start button and type git bash. You know the drill. You can right click and open it as an administrator or something. I'll open as an administrator. So once done, you'll see something like this on your screen. And let's see where are we right now. I'll just do pwd over here, and we are in the present work directory. So let's go inside our repository, not repository, directory, LogicOps lab. Do an ls over here, you'll see the existing project and the fresh project. We were working on the fresh project, so what we'll do is let's talk about the first thing, which is git history. Now there is one very peculiar thing about it. If I type git log, which is the command that is used for watching the git history, it won't work. Why? Because it says it's not a git repository. Why? Because there is no folder over here of git. What we have to do, you have to go inside a project, which is, we have initialized it already. Now you have to type git, not git, you have to type ls-a, and you can see this folder over here, which means there is an git folder over here. Now this will show you what exactly is your git history. So what you have to do is you have to type git log. Once you do it, it will tell you all those commits that you did in the recent past, and probably around 4 to 5 it will show. You can see all of them, but right now it will show only a few of them. So you can see that in yellow is a commit, and this is a sha1 or sha1 hash, which is a unique identifier, which you already know, with a message. You can see in this one there is a message that adding 3 new files, new file, removed 1 file, 6 file deleted, and so on, which have you have done. This is the recent ones, and it will show you the date as well, which is on done September 24, September 24, this and that, plus the author. And we have added, in the first few videos we have added this email id logicopsapp@gmail.com, and this will show you the git history. So this is how you see it. So once you have to go outside, you just have to play the q command. So you can just type the q command over here and it will just move out. Let me just clear it. So right now we have just understood how it needs to be done when you type git log. So there are other ways to watch or to make things in chronological order. What you saw over here is it is in reverse chronological order, which means that the recent one will be on the top. So if I type git help log, let's see what happens. So once you type this and hit enter, it will show you what all the other things that you can see. So in order to see that, whenever you type that, it might push you to the file over here. So once it push, you can see a lot of things over here. See, it has just opened. This was the previous one which I opened already, and after you typed this command, this has taken you over here. So it can show you git log, can show you the commit logs. The synopsis is something like this, and it's the description that it shows the commit logs. It'll list, you can read everything out. We are not reading it right now, and it is showing you the command that you have to type. There are a lot of other commands, there are a lot of other options: follow, no decorate, decorate, short, full auto, lot of commands. So you can go through it and type accordingly. So we'll take an example of it. Let me minimize this and let's take an example. So what we can do over here is we can just type git log one line, because we want to see everything in one line, and then in a graphical format. Then I'll just type graph, and then I want to decorate it with a color, so something like this. Once done, you have to just hit enter and it will come in a chronological order in a better view. So this will give you a kind of a beautiful view, and it might take some time because sometimes what happens is, yeah, perfect. So it has shown you the recent ones, and this looks better. The last one which git log I showed you, it was like too much to read about, and this is a beautiful view. So this has given you a message, this has given you the commit id, and what was the message, removed one file, new file, and other stuff, and in a chronological order. So this is how it needs to be done. It's not completely necessary that you have to remember all this command or this long command, but it's just, you can just keep it somewhere, copy and paste in case you want to do it to have a better view. So that's how it's done, guys, and this is the first topic that I wanted to cover today, which is how to see the git history and how to see the, or you can just say, history. So it's kind of a log. So let's move on to the other topic. Let me clear this, and we are going to talk about two ways to remove a file. So where are we right now? Let me type this. We are in the fresh project of the R project. So I've already opened it over here. You can see there are files over here. So what I'm going to do is I'll go here. I'll just type ls over here. I can see these are the files. So there is a 1, 2nd, 3rd, 4th, and 5th. So there are two ways to do it. Let me delete it from git first so that git can track it. So for that, what command you have to use? All you have to do is you have to type git rm is for remove, and the file name. Let us remove the last file, which is the 5th.java. Hit enter. When you type git status, it shows you the message that it has been deleted, but it is still not committed. That's why it is in green. So it is a tracked file, but it is deleted. In order to do that, in order to completely delete, you have to type git commit and the message. So Message can be anything. I'll just type fifth file deleted. So let's see what happens. Hit enter and it has deleted. Now if I go over here, I cannot see the fifth file. So this is how you remove it, and Git is tracking it over here. So I'll just clear this. I'll just type git status, and you can see there is nothing to commit and the working tree is clean. So this means perfect and we have done it. So this is one way of doing stuff. Now there could be another way in which we do it manually. So which is the latest file over here? I mean, you can remove anything. This is the latest file. I'll just remove this. You can remove anything. So it's your choice. So basically I'll just delete it over here. So fourth file is deleted. Now let me minimize this and type git status over here, and it is showing red. If you remember, previously it was showing green, now it is showing red. Why? Because we have removed it manually and we have not used Git to track it, so which means it is untracked file. Now if I'll repeat the same procedure and I'll try to commit, so what I'll do is I'll write the same command, file deleted. Will it work? Let us check. It won't. Why? Because it is untracked file and Git has not been tracking this because we did it manually from the outside. So now what we have to do is, let me just clear this so that you can have a proper room, and while we do it we have to type git add hyphen u is for untracked file. So no response is a good response. Now if we do it git status over here, you can see that it has been deleted, but now it is tracked by Git. So that's how it works, guys. But still it has not been completely gone, so you have to commit again. So I'll just commit. So git commit hyphen m. I'll just give the message over here, fourth file deleted, and you can see that it has shown that fourth file is deleted, one file changed. And if I do a get status now, what will it say? It will say that nothing to commit and the working tree is clean, which is perfectly all right. So let me clear this, and again I'll just type get status, and you can see this is perfect. And if you go over here, there won't be the file, and that's how it works, guys. So I hope you have understood everything. We have talked about three topics: how to see the history, how to see the git logs, and what are the recent things that we have done. We have taken a demo over here and understood everything. So first thing is git log, how to see the history. Second is how to remove a file. Two ways to do that: first is externally and second is internally. And you can see that it has shown the fourth file deleted, which was the latest one. And if you want to come out of it, just type q and it will come out of it. So I hope you have understood everything, guys. If not, feel free to comment below and we will address that. As you can see on my screen, we are going to talk about these two topics. First is moving files, how to move files within the directories. We'll use git for that. And then how to ignore the files. So what happens is sometimes you don't want a few files to be in your version control. So these are the files that you do not want in your version control. So how to do that and how to create a file for that and what to do, we'll discuss both these things in today's video. So before moving forward in the demo, let's subscribe my channel and let's dive right into the video. So first of all, open your git bash and check where are you right now. So I'm in the fresh project which I was supposed to be. So let us do ls-a over here, and we have these files. So let me create a directory over here and we'll talk about of moving files. So what happens is many a times there is a piece of code that has to be in specific directory. For example, there are Java files that you can see over here that has to go inside source folder. So I'll just create a directory. So if I do ls-a now, I'll be having a source directory. So in that source directory, I have to move the code. So there are two ways to do it. So first what you can do is, I have opened it over here. I can just copy first and second file over here, just move it over here. And then if I come over here, I can say git status. It says the files is untracked. This src folder is untracked and it is saying that it has been deleted because it has moved to somewhere else. So let me clear this. And what I'll do is git add dot, and now I'll check the status and you can see, sorry, I typed it wrong, and you can see that these files are now tracked because they have been added. So now it is in the staging area, but I have to check whether I have any untracked things. Okay, now it's perfect. Now I'll do the git status and these files are 1.java and 2.java are moved to source folder, and 1.java 2.java is over here. So this is perfectly fine. All I have to do is now git commit -m added a new src folder. That's all. Perfect, it's done. Now if I'll check the git status over here, what happens? Sorry, I wrong typed it again. And the working tree is clean and it is perfect. So that's one way of doing it. Now if I just clear it and I have to do it through other way, what I have to do? So we have a separate command for that, and that has to be what it, let me just type the command over here. Git mv stands for move, and let me check which file I want to move. So what I'll do over here is I'll move the third file. So I'll just write the name third.java to the source folder and hit enter. Now if I see the status, what happens? The third.java has been moved to source file. Now what I'll do is git commit -m moved third file. That's all. That's all you have to do, and just clear it. And if you check the git status, you'll see this. So the file has been moved over here. If I'll see the folder, this you can see the third file is moved over here. So now we are good, and we have understood how to do it. Now what we'll do is we'll create a git ignore file, which is the second topic for today. You cannot do right click over here and type and try to create a document in which you can rename it by git ignore, because it starts from dot and you cannot create that on Windows. So what we will do, we'll take care of that from here. So let me clear this and we'll start from the beginning. The command touch is used to create these kind of file. So you can create any file with that. I'm just using this. You can run this command in Linux as well. So if I touch git ignore and do a git status, you can see there is a new file over here which is not added. And if I do ls-all, which is a, you can see there is a git ignore file which is present over here. Now what I'll do is I want to write this file because I want to ignore a few files. So sometimes what happens in a few projects, there are few logs files that you don't want to include. So let us create a log file. So this time I'll be creating it through externally. Okay, so let name it anything. I'll just name it applogs.log file. So this is a log file. You want to change it? Yes, perfect. You want to change it? Yeah. So now if I go over here and type git status, what happens? It says there are two files over here, and that can go into your svn, not svn, in your version control. So but you want to avoid that. So these are the files that you do not want to have in your version control. So how will you avoid it? So let me clear this, and again I'll type git status and I'll show you the difference. So right now two files is showing that you have to commit it, stage it and then commit in your version control. What I'll do over here is I'll just right click over here, git ignore, open in the notepad, and then I'll just add *.log and save this file. So red became blue, which means it's saved. You can use any sort of file, it's just I'm avoiding the log files. I'll just minimize this, open this, and now if I do the git status, let's see what happens. Now you can see that .log file, which was the extension, I added it in git ignore file and it got avoided. So now it won't go inside your repository. So if I add git add all the files, now check the git status, let's see what happens. There is a new file git ignore and it has ignored the log file, and all you have to do is git commit -m and give the message added a new ignore file. Hit enter and it is changed. So let me just clear it and check the git status. You'll see that the working tree is clean. So now what we have learned in this video today, that you can either move it through this way or you can just move it through mv command from the git bash, and the other one is how do you ignore the files you don't want to add in your version control. So I hope guys you have understood it, and if there is any issue, feel free to comment below and we'll address that. So there are topics which we are going to discuss. Is the first topic is what is GitHub, workflow in GitHub. Third is how do you create an account on your GitHub, and you can create with us, along with us, use any email ID. After that, we'll create our first repository for today. The repository that I'll create in this video is independent of this course. You can create any repository with any sort of name, and then cloning a sample repository in local. So what we'll do is whatever repository we have created on the GitHub on the web part, we'll just clone that using a git clone command. So that's what we'll do today in this video. So guys, if you have not subscribed my channel till yet, please do so. So without further ado, let's dive right into the video. Let's talk about GitHub. So GitHub is a provider of internet hosting for software development and version control using Git. It offers the distributed versions control and source code management functionality of Git plus its own features. It provides access control in several collaboration features such as bug tracking, feature request, task management, continuous integration, and wikis for every project. So the headquarter of GitHub is in California, and it has been a subsidiary of Microsoft since 2018. So since 2018, Microsoft is the owner. Now, if you can see on this screen, consider this GitHub as like remote repository, and you have three workstations over here. So consider it as three people who are working on the same code. So what they'll do with using Git, which is already installed in their system, they pull the code. So pulling code means the code is over here in the central repository. They pull the code, and then the code comes on their workstation. At the same time, someone else is also doing the same thing, and the third person is also doing the same thing. Now once this guy make some changes to his code, he can push those code or commit, as you can see over here, to the Git. Using Git, this will be pushed to the GitHub repository. So there are two operations happening here. Once you have done with your code, you'll commit the changes using Git, and then those changes will be pushed to GitHub. Now let's say if your GitHub repository was on X, after pushing this, it will be X dash. Now these two people can do the same thing. So this is a very basic idea of how a repository of changing code or pushing changes or pulling changes work. Now let me define this push or pull over here and commit and update over here. Now pull is something when you pull the code from the central repository to the local workstation. Push is the opposite. You push the code from your local to the central repository. Commit is the first process. Before after that you push the code, and after pulling you update it. So check out this arrow. This is your laptop or a desktop. You commit, you push the code to the central repository, or after like 10 days there is some changes in the code, you just pull it through Git and update your workstation. So that's the basic idea of how GitHub works. Go to Google again, look for GitHub, enter, and open the first link. Now there are two options available, sign in and sign up. If you have an account, sign in, otherwise click on sign up. Give a username. Make sure that username is different. Give an email ID which is not associated with GitHub. For example, I'm giving my ID. Give a password below and make sure it's according to the standards. Click on verify and answer the question. Pick the spiral galaxy. Click on spiral galaxy. There's one more to go. Again, click on that and create your account. So I'm not creating my account because I already have one. So what I'll do is I'll go back and I'll click on sign in. I'll give my LogicOps lab username and the password, sign in. Now I have multi-factor authentication. So it has sent 6-digit code to my email ID. I'll enter that and verify. And this is how a page looks like. If you can see on my left, there is already one repository there. What you can do, you can just go above, click on new. Let me expand this for a better view. Now click on new, enter a repository name which is already not used. Let's type Jenkins automation. And if you see that green signal below, it means that it's new and can be used. There are two options, public and private. Private cannot be used by anyone, public can be used by anyone. Description, you can just enter anything about your repository. Let's enter code base for Jenkins automation tutorial. Just do not create it. Click on add a readme so that it's not an empty repository. Now you can go inside, go below and create repository. Once you create it, you can see that your repository has been created over here. Now what you can do is you can just check, go to your desktop or somewhere, create a new folder, give any name. Let's name it Jenkins automation. We'll clone the repository in your local, and as we have Git already installed, it will be a breeze. Go inside, right click, okay, before doing that you have to copy the repository link. Click on code, make sure it is HTTPS, copy it, minimize the browser, right click over here. You do not need to do any new thing, you just have to click on git bash here. It will come after the git installation which we did just a few minutes back. Type git clone and the paste the link of the repository which we just copied. Hit enter and it will clone everything from the central repository to your local laptop, and that's what we talked about in this video in the previous few slides. Do a list over here, you can see the folder, go inside the folder, enter, do an ls over here and you can see the readme file which has come from the central repository to the local repository. Now clean it. Okay, clear should be the command. Now what you can do over here is go back, create a file over here. Now you can do through web UI, click on add file, either you can create or you can upload. Just create a new file. We'll call it first.bat, and below the edit new file option, write echo off and you can echo a message. So let's say echo inverted commas, this is a file. Come down, enter your message, whatever relevant message is there from web, because we are doing from web, and just commit. And if you refresh it, you can see your file over there. Now you have to bring this file to the local, from central to local. Do an ls over here. You can use git fetch or git pull, but git fetch won't work here. But I want to give you a view. What does it actually do? Enter. It will show you the stuff that everything is in sync, but it won't bring the file. Let's just check it. Do an ls over here. You cannot see the file. So git pull is the command. So git pull is basically git fetch and merge. We'll talk about that later. Here you can see a new file is there. Now you have to do ls over here. You can see the first.bat file is present. So that's how it works, guys. These steps are just for your understanding. The only thing that you want to do here is create an account on GitHub, because that's what relevant for this course. So we're going to talk about these topics today. What is SSH? How does it work? You can see the diagram over here. SSH key creation will create the key through Git, updating GitHub with our key. So these are the topics that we are going to talk about today. So let's talk about the SSH today first. So SSH, or Secure Socket Shell, is a network communication protocol that enables two computers or two servers to communicate by HTTP or hypertext transfer protocol, which is the protocol used to transfer hypertext such as web pages and share data. On the second part, the SSH key pair is used to authenticate the identity of a user or process that wants to access a remote system using the SSH protocol. The SSH client then decrypts the challenge message in response to the SSH server. So you can see on this right side that there are two people over here, or two entities over here is the right word. One is SSH user, which is like us, and the SSH server. So the communication goes this way. So first message would be, hi server, I want to connect with you. Here's my public key and you know I'm me. So we create two keys, public key and private key. So the server will reply in some sense. So this is, hey user, looks like it matches the key I have on file. Here's an encrypted message. If you figure out what it says, we can connect. So the server is saying that there is an encrypted message, and if you can figure out or you can decrypt it, so we can connect. And on the third step, the user says, great, yep, I've used my private key to decrypt it. Let's hash out the few parameters so that we can get this party started. So SSH user is saying over here that I have a private key and I have decrypted your message, whatever you have sent, and everything is perfect between us. Let's get this party started means let's do the communication. And then at the end, it says, SSH server says, sounds good, let's connect using SSH. So these are the kind of a, like, it's kind of a animated way they are saying in a pictorial graph, not graph, in a pictorial way they are explaining you how the communication happens between SSH user or an SSH server. So today in our demo we are going to create an SSH key, and we are going to talk to GitHub, and we'll paste our private key over there, sorry, public key over there, and then do the communication. So before moving to the demo part, if you have not subscribed my channel yet, kindly do so. So without further ado, let's get into the demo. So first of all, go to your git bash and type present work directory. So you are in ravish.rawat folder. So here, let's go to our LogicOps lab folder. So for that, you have to do cd and then the LogicOps lab name, hit tab and it will open. Perfect. Now you can see there are two projects over here. So we'll do ssh hyphen keygen over here and generate the keys. So it will say generating public key and private RSA key. So enter file in which we have to save the key. So you can give a file name over here, but it will create a folder in ravish.rawat.ssh with the name id underscore RSA. It will not create in the current directory. So all you have to do, just hit enter, and it will ask for the enter passphrase. So you can leave it empty and you do not have to give any other password over here. It's totally your choice. Hit enter again. If you have given the passphrase, give it, otherwise hit enter again and move forward. That's all. So right now it's completed. The two IDs are created. Do not get confused by this. Let me just delete it. Do not get confused by this folder. This was created previously. Let me just delete it. Perfect. Now there is an SSH folder which is created over here right now. Let me put a large icon and right click. Let me open it in Notepad++, but I don't want you to see my public key, so I'll just open it in a sideways so that you cannot see complete, because this could be a security issue. Perfect. So you can see this is my public key over here, and all I have to do is I just have to copy this completely and I have to paste it in my GitHub account. So just copy it, right click and copy, and go to your browser and open your GitHub account. I've already opened it over here. Right click on the right side and go to your settings. On your left side you will see a few options. Let me just expand it. Click on SSH and GPG keys. Perfect. You can see SSH keys option over here. On your right you can see new SSH key. Click on that and give a title. I'll just give a title my key. You can give anything. On this key text box you have to just paste that key. I'll just paste it over here. I'm putting it on the side so that you guys cannot see my public key, as I told you that is a security concern. Perfect. Now it's done. You can see that it's never used, never read or write, which is understandable. Minimize this and minimize this as well. All you have to do, go back to your git bash, and here let me just clear it so that you guys can have a better room to see. Perfect. Done. Now let me just drag it over here so that the public key is not compromised. Okay, I have moved it. Now go back to your git bash as you can see on my screen and type ssh hyphen capital T git at rate github.com. Now that's all you have to do and hit enter. Once done, as you saw in the PPT that there was a diagram in which two servers are trying to contact each other through some kind of authentication which is SSH. So this is going to happen. Perfect. Now it is asking you, are you sure that you want to continue connecting? You just have to type yes and hit enter. This is the first time and this will show you something like this because it does not, this key is not known by any other name. Just hit enter after typing yes. Perfect. Warning, permanently added GitHub this and this to the list of known hosts. And if you have seen this message, hi LogicOps Lab, you have successfully authenticated, but GitHub does not provide shell access. You don't have to worry about that. You just have to take care of this, hi LogicOps Lab, you have successfully authenticated. Perfect. If this is done, it means that you have been authenticated. So I hope you guys have understood it. If there is any issue, please feel free to comment below and we will address that. So as you can see on my screen, today we're going to talk about Git Remote, in which there is a creation of same repository in GitHub. So if you have been following my course, we have created a repository into our local, and then we are going to create a same repository in GitHub, and then we are going to sync both of them. Then we'll push our repository to GitHub, push our changes, whatever we have done, to the GitHub. We'll do the initial setup before pushing because it's needed for the first time and it's a one-time process that we have to do. And then pulling changes. So pulling changes means if you have done any sort of change in Git remote or GitHub, and then you have to pull those changes into your local because there could be an environment where a lot of people are working. So that's what we'll learn today. So before moving forward, if you have not subscribed my channel, kindly do so because that supports me. So without further ado, let's dive right into the video. So first of all, you have to open the fresh project which we have created and then right click over here and then just open git bash here. So I've already opened it. What you have to do is you have to check whether you have created the repository or not. For that, let's just, okay, so we are just on branch master. Okay, so this is what we have done till yet. Now what we'll do, we'll go over here in our GitHub and create a new project. Depending on the version that you are seeing, you can see that the new creation of new repositories from here, it can be anywhere over here in another version if you are seeing it lately. Anyway, just click on new and we'll create a new repository. So repository name should be fresh project and let's create it, and it has to be the same name. So a new project, you can give any name, leave it public, and do not click on any of these. You do not have to add any readme or git ignore or choose a license because we already have a readme file, and if we create anything over here and pull it in our local, it will create some conflicts. So all you have to do is just create the repository. So once done, it will show you these things. So what we are going to do, we are going to do this. So copy this and paste it over somewhere in your local. So once done, there are two options available, HTTPS and SSH. HTTPS we have already talked about. We are going to do an SSH over here. So just copy this and paste it over somewhere. So let's do it. Okay, there is one more option of import code. Import code is something like someone already has provided you some code and you have to import it. So you can click over here and import that code. What we are going to do is we are going to do this because this is an empty repository right now and we have everything created in our local. Just minimize this, go here, type git remote add origin and give that command. So once you pasted this command over here, it should work. Hit enter. So no response is a good response. This is perfect. Now what you can do is git remote -v and you can check. So if this is the result, then I think everything is working fine. You can see origin is associated with the remote repository. So this is our remote reference and origin is just a convention that we use for the main repository that will link up to on the remote side. We can have more repositories, you can create many branches, but generally origins usually is our first one. So now we'll push the changes and that's what we'll test over here. Let me clear this so that we can test. So what we'll type is git push -u origin master. So this is the one-time process. Hyphen U is a one-time process because this is going to establish an upstream link between our remote repository and our local repository with the master branch. So that's what the first thing that you guys have to do. Once done and once this is completed, you don't have to use hyphen U anymore. You just have to use git push origin master, and you can see the changes has been done. So you can see it's saying counting objects 100%, 43 out of 43 done, compressing object this and this, writing objects total 43, delta 14. New branch is the master branch that has been set, branch master set up to track remote branch master from the origin. If you can see this, this means everything is perfect. I'll just go over here and refresh this and let's see what happens. Perfect, and you can see all the changes that you did has come over here. If you go into 19 commits, it means the git log that we used to see, the git history, who has committed, when it has committed. You can see that the first commit was 13 days ago when I started making up this course on September 15th, and after that so many changes has been done, so many commits has been done, and everything is clearly visible over here. So this is the perfect thing that you have done. Click on the fresh project, go back again. Now let us consider a scenario in which there is someone who has done some sort of changes in your remote repository, which is this repository. So what you will do is you have to get the changes in your local. So let us try that scenario. What I'll do is I'll add a file. I'll create a new file. I'll just name it some dev changes, and I'll just give it a Java file or something. That's fine in the master branch, and I'll give some developer changes. That's all. It doesn't matter. All you have to do is just commit the file, and you can see some dev changes.java is appeared on my remote repository, which is on GitHub. But if I check over here and do a git status over here, it says that everything is up to date and the working tree is clean. And even if I do ls-al over here, you can see there is no such file. So what's wrong over here? Now let me just clear this. If I create one file over here, let me create touch new file for checkin.txt. So we have created a new file. Let us do the git status. You can see there is a new file that has been tracked. So let's commit it. So git add, I'll just commit it directly, git commit -am and give the message new file, and let's see what happens. So this is the untracked file. Okay, let me add it first. Git add dot, this is done. Git commit -m new file. Perfect. So let me just clear this, and you can see on the git status that this is perfect. Now if you can see the git status, it is saying that the local one, the local branch or the local code is forward, is ahead of by one commit, which is this repository has one commit extra than what this repository had. So there is a issue over here, and there is some dev changes over here which is not present in my local. So before doing any sort of commit, always do this thing, type git pull. So before doing that, I'll just show you ls-a, and you can see there is no such file which calls at some dev changes.java. But if I'll now push the code, it will create a merge conflict or some kind of conflict. I want to avoid that, so I'll just clear it. I'll do a git pull over here and hit enter, and let's see what happens. And you can see there is a issue over here. So it is saying that merge branch master of GitHub LogicOps // project, please enter a commit message to explain why this merge is necessary. So there's a merge conflict over here. Now this merge conflict is an issue that you guys have to resolve. We do not have to worry about that, so I'll just give anything over here. I have to insert, so I'll just press I and insert. I'll just do this. I'll give colon over here, not colon. I'll press the exec, give colon, and WQ that I am saving over here. Hit enter and it says that some dev changes.java has come. So this merge has been made because what happened, I created a some dev changes over here. So I'll just do a CLS, not CLS, I'll just do git, sorry, I'll just do ls hyphen al over here, and you can see some dev changes has come because there is a merge that has happened because of this code. Now if I do the git status over here, it says that origin master is away, like ahead of 2 commits. So I'll just git push origin master and let's see what happens. And you can see that it has worked and the code is now synced with this. So I'll just refresh this and you can see new file for check-in is present over here, which has come. Click on 22 commits, let's see what happens. So there was a merge branch that happened, that which we did, and there was a new file that we added. If you can click over here, it will show you what happened. So there was a new file for check-in that has come. So this is how to figure out. If you click on it, it will show you the content, but this is an empty file which we already know. And just let's just go back and you can see there was a merge that happened because there was someone who did the changes. So that's how you do git pull over here and resolve the merge or some conflicts. So this is what happened. So this is our repository and it is even with our this. So I'll do a clear over here and let's do one more change. Touch last file dot txt, do a git status over here and you can see, so I'll just add it, git add dot git commit hyphen m last file. That's perfect. And before pushing, we'll do a git pull over here and let's see what happens. So I assume that there is nothing going to be happen and it should give no response. It should give no response because there is nothing to pull. Because in the previous scenario, what we've shown you, there was a file already, and that's why we were able to see that merge and that has to be resolved. But right now it won't show anything. So let's see what happens. And you can see that it says already up to date, which means it got synced with the remote repository on GitHub and there was nothing to be done. So I'll just push it. So I'll just press git push origin master and let's see what happens. So probably what it will do is, you guess it right, it'll push the changes that has been done lately, which is just last file.txt, and that will be pushed to my this repository. So let me just minimize this and wait for it to happen. And now you can see that it has happened. So I'll just go over here and refresh it and you can see the last file will come over here, which is this, and this is perfect. So I assume you have understood everything in this project and whatever we have done over here, and if there is any issue, please feel free to comment below and we'll address that.
So as you can see on my screen, we are going to talk about branches today. So the first topic would be branch creation. How do we create the branch? We have two ways for that. First, you can create through GitHub, and second through local. And then we'll talk about how to push the branch. Then we'll talk about raising a PR or a pull request. And then we'll talk about merging the branches. So these are the 4 or 5 topics that we are going to talk about today. So before moving forward in our video, I'd like to request that if you have not subscribed my channel, kindly do so. So without further ado, let's dive right into the video. So first of all, open the folder in which you have created your fresh project, right click and open the git bash here. I've already opened it. The first command that you have to type is git branch -l. So git branch -l gives you the repository that is on your local, which is the master right now. And then you can type git branch -r. R gives you the repository which is on the remote repository basically. So we have only master in both the cases. Now what we'll do, we'll try to create a branch in here over in the GitHub first. So right now we have only master branch over here. Let us create one more branch. We'll give a name develop. So develop is a branch name. As soon as I click on it, it will create me a develop branch. So this develop branch is exactly the same copy of your master branch. Now if I go over here
and I'll check git branch -r, what do you think it will do? So ideally it should give me the master branch and the develop branch which I just created. So a lot of time what happens is, whenever you talk about the branching strategies that any company that follows, they already have 2-3 branches extra, which is known as master, which is the main branch for the release, and then you have dev or a develop branch in which you write your code and you create your feature branches, and then you have UAT or user acceptance testing branch or a release branch. So that's all the branches are. So right now it ought to show me both the branches, but it is not showing. Why? Because the local has not got the changes. So you have to type a command git fetch, and once you type the command git fetch, what it will do is this local git will make a call to your GitHub. So this remote GitHub will get a call from that, and then once the connection is done, it will reply and it will get you the results. Let me just refresh this and minimize this, and you can see that git fetch has given you a result new branch develop. So if I type git branch -l, it will give me master branch because we are on master branch. But if I type git branch -r, then it will give me both the branches. So first branch would be the master branch and the second branch would be the develop branch, and you can see that it has given me develop and master branch both. So that's how it works, guys. So let me just clear it. Now I will tell you how to create a branch from local. So what you have to type, git checkout and then -b, b is for branch and a new branch. So let me type UAT, which is the user acceptance testing branch, and hit enter. So it says switch to a new branch UAT. Okay, so the branch is created over here. So if I type git branch -l, it showed me UAT. So UAT is the branch that's we are going to talk. Now I have to make changes in the UAT. So before that, I have to push this UAT into the GitHub. So right now I can see only two branches, master and develop over here, and I have to move this into the GitHub. So what I'll do, I'll just first of all let me make some changes over here. So I'll do ls-al and we create a new file over here. Let me just clear this. So I'll just create a new file touch in UAT. Let me type uat.txt. So there is a file that's got created. If I type git status over here, you can see there is a file, new file, and then I'll just add it, git add hyphen dot, not hyphen, just dot, git commit dot hyphen m message new file in UAT. Hit enter. It's done. So will I see the changes over here? Let's see. I did not see any changes over here. Why? Because we have not pushed the code. So git push, and let's see what happens. Now it hasn't pushed because you have to push to the current branch, you have to make it upstream. So they have already given us this command git push hyphen set upstream origin UAT. So let me just clear this first. I'll just clear it, paste the command which they gave us and hit enter, and wait for it to set a link between both of them and push the branch. So let's see what happens. And now you can see that it has pushed the changes. Now what I'll do over here is I'll just refresh this and see. Okay, this is, let me go back. Okay, in the fresh project, and you can see UAT has recent pushes less than a minute ago. So right now I can see 3 branches over here, master, develop and UAT. Perfect. So the first thing that we have learned today is how to create a branch through local and through GitHub. Now everything is in sync. Let me type git branch -r over here, and it will show the remote branches. In the meantime, I'll just minimize this and go over here. Now we'll talk about the other topic. We have talked about 2 topics, pushing the branch and creating a branch in 2 ways. Now we'll talk about compare and pull request. So if you can see, I'll just go to the UAT. It says that it's 1 commit ahead of master. As my UAT was created from master branch, it is saying that it is ahead of master. Now why it is ahead? Because we have given this file in sorry, in dev repo in uat.txt. So this was the new file added. But if I check it with my master, it does not have that file. Why? Because we have added only one change. So what we'll do, we'll create a pull request. So you can get this kind of notification to add, but this is not the ideal way. You can just compare and create a pull request. You have to create it from here. So click on here. In the meantime, if you can see, git branch -r has given us the 3 results, which is perfect. Now I'll just clear this over here. Let me just go back and then we'll create a pull request. Now what we'll do is compare and pull request. Click on that. The base is master and comparing with UAT. So it's saying able to merge, that it can merge. These branches can be automatically merged. So you can give anything over here or leave a comment. The code looks good. Looks good. Kindly approve. That's all. On your right side, you can add the reviewer who can approve it. But right now there are no approvers because this is my account and I am only taking care of it. But you can add the reviewer from here. That's pretty much about it. And then create a pull request. Once the pull request get created, and if you have a reviewer over here, you can ask him, and the reviewer gets a notification that there is a new file uat-2 pull request is created for you. You have to approve it. So all you have to do, go over here, check that new file in uat. There is a PR which is open over here. What you have to do, go inside and you can merge the pull request. There are 3 options: create a merge commit, squash and merge, rebase and merge. In the first option, all commits from this branch will be added to the base branch via a merge commit, which we are going to do today. Squash and merge is the one commit from this branch will be added to the base branch. The one commit which we did will be added to the base branch. Rebase and merge, the one commit from this branch will be rebased and added to the base branch. It will be a rebase, which is different. So right now we'll just let it be, and I can give any comment. Code looks good. Approved, like this. Anything you can give, and merge the pull request. So you can either just comment on it, the comment will come, and just merge the pull request, confirm merge, and that's all you have to do. So that's all done. It has changed its color to purple. Now if you go back, let me go over here, refresh, and let's check the master branch. If we go in the master branch, we can see that in uat txt file has come over here. So that's how it works, guys. So we have talked about 4 things: creation of branch by 2 ways, Git and through GitHub. Second, how do you push a branch, which we just talked about, UAT. Third option is creating a pull request, and fourth is merging them. So that's how it works, guys. So I hope all these 4 things have been easy for you to understand. If there is any issue, feel free to comment below. And in the meantime, if you change your branch, so if I type git checkout any other branch like master, so you can easily switch to master and you can check git, let me ls-al. You can see that the file has not come here, which is the uat file. So after clearing, just type git pull over here and let's see what happens. So you can see when you did a git pull over here, it's saying that in UAT text file has come over here, and if you type ls-al, you can see that in uat.txt file has appeared over here. So that's how it works, guys. So out of all the 4 topics, I hope you have understood everything. If there is any issue, please feel free to comment below and we'll address that. So as you can see on my screen, today we are going to talk about the interview questions. Before moving in the video, I would like to request that if you have not subscribed my channel, kindly do so. So let's dive right into the video. So talking about these videos, talking about these questions, what I'm trying to say is that these are not the only question that someone can ask in the interview. So first of all, you should keep this thing in your mind that Git is huge and there are a lot of other things that are not taught in this Git crash course. It is just a crash course and we have told you how to get started. So there could be any questions. There are multiple questions that are not covered in this course. But these interview questions are from the very basic thing and depends on the course that we have taught you. So at least these questions you should be prepared with. So let's dive in. So The first question is, what are the advantages of using a command line? If you have noticed, in this whole course, we have used most 90% of the time our command line, and on the last 2-3 videos we have used the GitHub. So why we did that? So first of all, that new features arrive on the command line first, and mostly all the online help is available on command oriented. It's basically command line oriented. So 2 points you have to keep in mind, that new features arrive on the command line first, and mostly all online help is a command line oriented thing. So that would be the answer of your first question. The next question is how to uniquely identify a commit. So if you remember, in the first few videos we have talked about SHA1 and SHA1 or SHA1 hash, that is responsible for uniquely identifying a commit. So any git commit will be identified by that. The next question is, what's the default branch in any Git repository? So the straight answer is master or main. So there was a controversy that happened, due to which people are now ignoring the word master or slave. Now they are calling it main. So previously it was master. So now you guys can tell it like master or main. So that would be the answer to your question. Next question is, what are the other Git hosting providers? So we have talked about only GitHub in this course, but there are multiple. For example, Bitbucket and Azure Repos, and your the AWS also has their code commit, and GitLab, and there are multiple others. So these are the uh, multiple Git hosting providers available. Not GitHub is not the only one. Let's move on to the next question, which says, is there any difference in Git commands if I use them on a Mac or a Windows? It does not matter wherever you type your command. Even if it's a Mac or a Windows, the command should be the same, and there won't be any difference in any sort of commands. So the installation part can be different, like we have installed an exe in case of Windows. It could be different in terms of any sort of Linux or a Mac, but the commands and the concept of Git would be the same. So let's move on to the next question, which is, passphrase is a must while creating an SSH key. So if you remember that when we created an SSH key, it asked us that what passphrase you want to give, but we didn't give anything. So it's not completely necessary, but it's a good practice. So that's the answer to your question. Next question is, what are the commands to use while communicating with Git remote Git repo? So when we talk about remote Git repo, what is the first thing that comes in our mind? We have discussed about GitHub. So the first command which we discussed was git clone, and then we had a git pull, git push, in which we pushed the local repository to the git repo on GitHub, and then git fetch for checking out the local changes from GitHub, and then git branch -r, which checks how many branches and what are the branches are there on the remote. So these are the few commands that we talked about. Let's move on to the next question. Why do we need -u parameter in git commands? So -u, if you remember, is used for untracked. So if the git is not tracking any sort of file, you have to use -u. Sometimes it's only one time process, and once it starts getting tracked, you don't have to use it anymore. So that's the answer to your question. Next question is, why it is recommended to issue the git pull command immediately before git push. So first of all, it's a good habit to develop. Even if you are sole owner and there is no one who can touch your repository, it is a good habit to develop, and it comes in the best practices for Git. So if, and on the other hand, if there are multiple developers and it's kind of a chaotic environment, then you can avoid some failures, because if someone has done any sort of change since the last time you pulled the repository into local, your code will have some sort of merge conflicts. So this is some other concept. So that's the answer to your question. And the last question for today is how to create a branch in Git. If you remember, there are two ways. First, you can go to GitHub, and from the left side you can just drop down, type a name, and then click on it, and you can create a branch. And on the local, you can give a command, git branch -b, and after that you can give a branch name that you can create for your command. So these are the 10-11 questions that you, at least these questions you should know before going in interview, and these questions are entirely based on the course that we have studied till today. And I'm saying it again, and I'm repeating it, one more time that these are not the only questions that you guys need to do, because Git is huge and there can be multiple questions that comes. And this video marks as the last video to this series as promised. And if there are any videos that needs more information on Git or something, I can create in future, but on a different series or on a different playlist. So if you, so one more advice uh, before I just close my lid down for today. So just pause for, just go back again to this video from the starting and just pause for every question and try to answer that question. And if you are able to answer that, it means that you have totally understood what I have taught you in this course, and this is the first step, and you have flagged your poll. So I think you have understood everything, and I assume that you have learned a lot in this course. And if there is any other issue, feel free to comment below and we'll address that. So thanks guys, and I'll see you in the next series.